Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you're watching. This is Allison from Jim's Music in Green Bay, and I have all kinds of cool stuff for us today. We are going to be making a guitar out of all kinds of things that I found around my house. So, let's get started. Here's what you're gonna need, okay? I found an old box, and I cut it in 2 strips. I'll take it apart for you just real quick so you can kind of see what I did. You might need a grown-up for this part unless you have like a not a toilet paper roll, a paper toweling roll, okay? You could use a paper toweling roll as well and flatten it. You're gonna need a piece of cardboard that you can flatten out. Now this one I wanted mine to be extra strong, so I took a piece of cardboard like the flap from a box, and I folded it in half, okay? And then what I did is I took a couple of rubber bands and I just put them on there to keep it flat for me, okay? You do need a couple of extra materials today that we haven't used in our other videos, so just be aware of that. So big piece of cardboard. I bet you guys all have a cereal box laying around your house. You need a cereal box today. We are going to, when you get your cereal box, make sure that you take off all the flaps from the top part, okay? Most of them have an easy tear edge where you can just literally tear them off pretty easy. You see that? All right, very cool. Okay, so mine is Crispy Oats. I think we got this one from Aldi's. It's a good time. You're gonna need a hole puncher or a grown-up to help you with a pair of scissors, okay, because you're gonna need to poke some holes in a little bit. Also a pair of scissors and rubber bands. I have big rubber bands, and I might have to cut these apart so that they can be a little longer. We're gonna have to measure it out when the time comes, okay? If you have small rubber bands only, you can cut them or do what we did last time and make that 8. Take your rubber band, make an 8, and make them longer like that. That will work as well. Okay, you guys? I'm gonna just take mine apart because I don't know for sure. Maybe I won't take them apart. I'll just use these last if I need them. We're flexible, right? We can make changes on the fly. I'll just use these last as I need them, okay? You're also gonna need a hot glue gun. I have my hot glue gun plugged in already and it's ready to go. You don't need tons of glue for this project, but you do need a little bit. So let's just make sure we have one of those ready to go. If you do not have a hot glue gun, duct tape would be acceptable. I just can't guarantee that it's gonna hold up as well as hot glue might, okay? So let's get started. You're gonna take that cereal box, okay? If you want to, a little extra part of this project, you could wrap it like a Christmas present in whatever paper you like, kind of like we did with our bongos, and you could make it look like how you want it. Or you could do that afterwards. It's totally up to you, okay? But I'm gonna show you how to make the instrument. You can put your personal flares on when you're done. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna take my box and I'm gonna find about 3/4 of the way toward the bottom where it's not open, a spot where I can poke my hole, okay? We're gonna make a sound hole for the guitar. So I chose right about here on my cereal box, where the bowl of cereal is, okay? And I'm just gonna cut. Now traditionally, guitars have a nice circular sound hole. Okay, so here's half my circle. If you need a grown-up to help you with that initial poke through the box, I totally get it. Scissors are sharp and you wouldn't want to cut yourself, okay? So, see where we're going with this? Here's our sound hole right here. Peekaboo. All right, now I'm gonna take my hole punchers and I'm gonna go through that sound hole. I'm actually gonna go through the inside of the box and out the sound hole, okay? This can be a little tricky, but we're gonna put about 4 to 6 holes right here with your clippers, okay? So you're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. You could use a marker to line them up so that you know where they're gonna be. I'm just gonna kind of do it by eye today. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll do 5. You can do 6 if you want, but I'm gonna do 5 today based on how big I made my hole. So now you should be able to I'll get closer to my camera so you can see. I have my sound hole and I have 5 holes right here. Okay, very cool. Now, let's take that other piece, this piece right here, your big long piece of cardboard that's kind of strong, right? You want it to be kind of strong if you can. If you don't have it rubber banded together, rubber band it together now. Let's see, I'm gonna just give mine 1 extra rubber band in the middle. We can pretend that there are frets on our guitar. Those are the little pieces that kind of help you to determine where your fingers should go on the fingerboard, okay? So now mine is nice and secure. It's 2 layers together. If you used a paper towel roll, you can skip this rubber band step, okay? Not necessary, okay? Now, here we go. Same thing here. So I did 5 holes on my cereal box. So that means that my instrument is gonna have 5 strings on it, okay? So I'm gonna go up here on the top, decide what side you want your strings to go on, and I'm gonna put my hole punch in, and I'm gonna do 5 up here as well. 1, 2, I had 1 there already. 2, so now I have 3, 4, this last one's gonna be tricky because I folded it. 5. Is it a big deal if they're not perfectly even? Nah, not really. It'll still work. All right, so here's the fun part. This piece here is gonna go inside our cereal box, okay? And we're gonna glue it, or you can duct tape it in the middle where you lay it down on the sound hole, okay? Where you lay it down where the sound hole is down on your table, and then you can duct tape it in. Okay, use a good amount of duct tape so that it should look like this, okay? I have hot glue, so I'm gonna use my hot glue, okay? But what I'm not gonna do with my hot glue is try and put it in the box first. I'm gonna put it on the part of my instrument that's going in. So I'm gonna take my scissors here and just make a little line right there. But that's how far I need my hot glue to go, okay? Sometimes just a little crease or line gives you a good indication, okay? So here's my line, and I'm gonna go ahead and quickly, this part you kind of have to be fast because you don't want your glue to dry before you have your instrument set in place, okay? So I put quite a bit because I want it to be nice and strong. Just like I told you, put a bunch of duct tape. Now I'm gonna put it in and have it be right close to where my sound hole is, covering all the glue, and then I'm gonna press it down, okay? And it's hot glue. It's gonna feel a little warm, but it shouldn't burn you unless you touch the hot glue directly. So keep careful of that, okay? Don't let that happen to you. Okay, now we're gonna take a second and just let that dry, okay? Just let it dry. Set it down and let it dry. I'm gonna set this off to the side. Now we have some decisions to make here with our rubber bands. Your rubber bands have to go from where you had poked your hole in your box all the way down to the holes that you poked on your box. Now, I could have probably, and I might still have to, okay? This is just the nature of this project. I might have to redo that part and make it shorter, okay? So depending on how big your cardboard piece is, you might have to cut, replace your rubber band, and redo your holes, okay? You might have to. I'm not saying you do for sure, but you might have to. So this is probably pretty close to dry. Hot glue does not take super long to dry. So I have my really big rubber band here. It does fit, however, it's really, really tight. I'm not gonna be able to tie really well around the outside of my holes here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take my scissors here, and I'm just gonna make one cut on my rubber band. Now it's really long, okay? Now, here we go. This is the fun part. I'm gonna go through the sound hole and put it through right here on my first hole that I poked, okay? And then I'm gonna tie a little knot. 1 and 2. And then I pull it tight. I'm gonna get close to the camera so you can see that in just a sec. So I tied a little knot right here. I went through the sound hole. So now this little part of my cardboard is holding this together, okay? Now, I'm gonna bring this all the way down, and I'm gonna tie another knot right here on the top hole on the other side. So here I go. I'm gonna go through the hole that I punched. And it's tricky because your instrument's holding a little bit of tension here, okay? You want it to have that tension. It's important so that your strings can vibrate. So I've got 1, and I'm gonna do it one more time. 2. So if you can tie a knot, you can do this project. Okay, so I have my first string on. 1, all the way down here. And I just let my rubber band, I don't try and tuck it in, I just leave it right there. Okay, so my box isn't perfect, but at the end, if I wanted to, I could go over it with funky duct tape or funky paper and make it look really snazzy. So the same thing I'm gonna do for the next one. Now remember, I had to cut this one. So I'm gonna cut it again. I'm gonna cut the next one again. Okay. Now I want my instrument to have a couple of different pitches that it plays. And so when I put my rubber bands on, I'm gonna make sure that each of them has a different tension on them. So this one here, I'm gonna tie my knot a little bit. I'm gonna give myself more string on the end on this knot. It's gonna feel a little tighter, okay? If you just want them to be on there and then find out how it sounds at the end, that works too. Okay, so I've got my knot here. I'm gonna do another knot up top. Stick it through there, pull, pull, pull. And then we're gonna knot. Make a nice square knot. 1. It's like the first step of tying your shoes, but you do it 2 times. And 2. So look, I have 2 strings on. See how this one has a bunch extra? Now at the end, I can clip those off if I want to, okay? All right. Next rubber band, I'm gonna cut this one again. Excuse me, clear my throat here. Another big one. I'm gonna put a little bit more tension on this one than I did the last one because I want them to all ring out a different pitch. Now this rubber band, this will be interesting because this rubber band is about the same length as the other ones, but it's a little thicker. You can kind of feel on your rubber bands how wide they are. This one's a little fatter than the other ones. Put it back up here, pull, 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 and make 2 knots. 1 and 2. Oh, here we go. Just like my last one. Starting to take shape now. We have 3 strings on. We've got them tied on each side. Now, for those of you that might have shorter rubber bands, let me look for, there's mine. If you have those shorter rubber bands and you've figure 8'd them together where you make it so that it looks like an 8 and they're tied kind of in the middle. Okay, do you see that? You can treat it just the same as you treated your large rubber band, only you're working with 2 pieces now. Okay, so I'm gonna put through one side, so it'll be a little loop like this. Okay, one side, and I'm gonna pinch it like that and stick it through the sound hole and make another knot. Okay, it does get a little trickier as we go because you have less room in your sound hole because you've got rubber bands that are going through. Okay, now here's the cool part about doing it this way. Once you put it through, I'm gonna get up nice and close and show you. So once you put it through, since it's paired like this and you have 2, you can take this other piece and put it through that loop that you've created and pull it, and it acts just like a knot. Okay, so it's not gonna look the same as your other ones. Do you see that? It's holding itself around the sound hole instead of a knot. Okay, you can decide which way you like better on your instrument. I'm gonna pull, 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 pull. Oh, there goes my box. Starts to hold a little bit more tension than you'd like sometimes. Ooh, we're making it really strong. So since my instrument flopped over, see that? This is a problem that sometimes we run into, okay? So what happened with mine is I flopped over like that. I'm gonna go ahead and make my instrument a touch shorter. Okay, now this you might need, if you didn't run into this problem, just keep moving with your strings. Okay, my box is stronger than my cereal box. So I'm just gonna cut, I'm gonna estimate and cut a little bit here off. Here's my strings, and I'm gonna put, now I hot glued one side, but I had it rubber banded in here, so I'm just gonna see if I can put that in there for now while I string it. I can glue it again later, okay? So now I'm a little shorter, okay? But my instrument, it definitely still works. So what I did with my box that I folded over is I just tucked it in there like an envelope. That works. You can go through and hot glue that one at the end. Okay, see? See? So sometimes when we're doing these projects, things like that can happen. And that's how you learn, okay? Think of all of the engineering that went into making instruments in the first place. Crazy. All right, so I have my last one. I only get 20 minutes with you guys, so I'm not gonna put in that 5th one today. If you wanna put that 5th one in, you totally can. I just wanna make sure that you get to see the finished product here. Okay, so I got my guy in there, and typically you hold a guitar over here. At this point, I would go in and hot glue again. Okay, so you can do that to secure your instrument. Okay, and you can kind of feel that sound hole, if you pluck your strings inside that box, you can feel feel some vibrations happening. And all sound is vibration, and that's how we get music. So I hope you have fun with your do-it-yourself guitar. Like I said, at this point I would hot glue it. I think maybe I'll just go through and put a little bit of glue in there. If you need a grown-up, get a grown-up and glue her in just like so. You can make it a little, I probably could have made mine a little longer, but I didn't want it to fold in half again. So, I hope you have an awesome time with this project. And thanks for joining me with Titletown, Learn to Play to Learn, and Jim's Music in Green Bay. I'm Allison. I'll see you for the next project, which is going to involve plastic bottles, water, and tape. See you then.